Hi, welcome to this second video on Soccerscanner. What I'm going to concentrate on tonight is filtering. Filtering, I touched on in the first video, is very important because it will narrow down the number of games that you're looking at. As you can see at the moment, it's Monday evening, just got 7:30. There is a huge raft of games already going on. On a Saturday and a Sunday, there can be an awful lot more than that. So what we want to do is we want to narrow down the number of games that we've got. If you read some of the good books, like Wayne Morgan's book, he will tell you always to have an entry and an exit point and have a strategy. You know, scrolling up and down is great. We can see that there's a likelihood of goals in some games, but you know, it's not ideal. We want to narrow down the number of games we're looking at. We want to narrow in on those games where we think we've got an opportunity. As I say, we can scroll up and down. We can look at this Copenhagen game here, for example. And, you know, it's 80 minutes in. How Copenhagen have not equalised, I'm not really sure. But you can see there that, you know, there's an opportunity. So scrolling up and down does have its advantages, but you know, we want to get a bit cleverer than that. So there's a number of filters that I've built into Soccerscanner that will help you narrow down the number of games and concentrate on things that you're interested in. So the first thing is, maybe you're looking for a particular team. We've got a team filter here. You can put the home or the away team in. You can put part of the name in, and it will bring it up. Okay, and once it brings it up, we've got full functionality. We can still look at the graphs. We can still see the statistics in there. We're just getting rid of the clutter so we can concentrate on that particular game. The other thing we can do is we can use these tick boxes at the side here to select 2 or 3 games that we're interested in. And then when we open the filters up at the top, we can choose My Games, and we only see those 4 games. Again, maybe these are games that you've identified that, you know, you want to keep an eye on, you want to have a look at. So we can do that by clicking the My Games button, and then again we can just sit and watch how these progress throughout the game. And if you see an opportunity, then obviously you can go and do whatever you need to do with that. If I click Show All, by the way, it will remove any of these buttons. Okay, what it won't do is it won't hold and highlight them. So if I want to go back to those at any point, I just click on My Games again. Okay, do Show All, and we click the button at the top here. We can take all of those filters, all of those selected games off. Other buttons we've got: first half, second half, half time, self-explanatory. So just by clicking half time, we can see there's 2 games like that at the moment, you know, and maybe that's what you do. Maybe your entry point is at half time where you've got this particular game, Standard Liège, that's now obviously gone into the second half. So it's a good example that the data in here is dynamic, and as the data changes, the views and the filters that you've got will change as well. Okay, so let's do a Show All again. Let's go back to that. We've got a button for draw, we've got a button for high attacking pressure, and as I showed you in the last video, we've got buttons for 5, 10 and 20-minute stats, which change this last column. Okay, but these buttons here are very interesting. These buttons are the ones that you can customize yourself. So when you first start Soccerscanner, you'll actually see they'll be named custom 1 till 6. What you can see in here is I've gone in and put strategies against them, and then whenever I want to apply that strategy, I can just click the button and it will go away and apply it. So I've set one up here for test purposes, just so we've got some games in there. But you can see instantly it shows me those games. And again, remember, the data is dynamic. So if you've got a set of criteria in here and a game changes and goes outside of those criteria, it will disappear from your view. Okay, and again, reset it, we can do Show All. So to set these buttons up, you go into the Settings tab at the top here, and in here you've got your 6 buttons across the top. You can give each one a name, and that is the name you'll see on the previous screen, and then you can set up to 7 criteria. When you're setting those criteria, there is a whole host of different things that we can set. So we've got total goals, last 5 and 10-minute goals, shots. We've got all of the home details and all of the away details. So we can, you know, pretty much set up anything that we want in here that sets with the strategy that we've got. We can give it a name. Once we've done that, we just do Save All, and that will save all 6 buttons in one go. We'll go back to Soccerscanner. So if I click on button 5, which I think didn't have a name yet, if I call this Test 2, and let's just say, for example, I'm interested in all of the games that are less than 25 minutes old. I'm just going to do something very simple just to show you that it works. And let's say total goals equals 0. Okay, again, I click Save All, and I click back to Soccerscanner Pro, I open my filters up. The filters are always shut by default because obviously the key thing you want to see is the more games, the better. So you will always have to open those up, but it does mean it gives you more real estate on the screen. You can see more games in any given progress. If I click on there now, you can see that button is called Test 2, and if I apply it, you can see all of these games are less than the time that we specified, and all of them have got no games. So again, you can set those up and you can just apply them at a touch of a button. Okay, the other filter that we've got here is covered under Filter 2. Filter 2 allows you to test those filters before you assign them to buttons, but also it allows you to build your filter as you go along. So if we click on this, we've got a very simple field here. Again, you should recognize these fields from what we just looked at. So we can pick these, anything we particularly want, and we can build as we go along. So we can say total goals equals 0, and we can add that filter. And what happens is it will dynamically change what we're looking at down here. So let's just say this standard Liège game, let's say it's got 5 home shots on target. So let's now do home shots on target is greater than 4. Add to filter, and you can see it's put the standard Liège game on there. And obviously, again, I've got not many games on the go on a Monday evening, but you can imagine on a Saturday this is really powerful to narrow down the number of filters that you actually need, and to narrow down the amount of games that you've got. So you can do that at any point. If you've made a mistake, you can just click on the cross and remove it, and again it will dynamically change it. So this is really good if you're not quite sure what your strategy is and you want to have a play around and you want to see what games you can bring up with certain criteria, because you can add it and remove it. The buttons are a little bit more permanent because you've got to go into the separate section of the site to be able to do that. But this is really powerful that we can look and see what we're looking at. So overall, those are the two main filter areas that you've got. So you've got the button number 1, you've got the predefined buttons, and you've got these lovely custom buttons that you can create to yourself. And then you've got filter number 2, which allows you to build a filter as you go along, and do that. So I hope that's been helpful. As I say, it's always a good idea to try and get to a point where you're looking at a smaller number of games. The smaller number of games, the more you can pay attention, and the more better you can look at it. So that's the idea of the filtering. The idea is to try and just narrow down those games and give you a better view of what's going on. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.